I think we should try to understand what Qatar is. Everybody's wondering what Qatar is. Qatar is a place. Let's hold on. Let me flip to this paratha. Paratha is very delicious. It's flatbread from India and Pakistan. I found the Turkish version of it because the dough is made in water and it's wrinkled and put in many layers, and then you flatten it and you end up with like layers and layers of thin bread. But anyway, so what is Qatar? Qatar is a country that from the GCC was isolated culturally. They were seen as the bumpkins or the rednecks of the GCC world. They were way behind. In the 90s, they were so behind, and they had really oddball kind of culture. They literally had mullets, and they would have weird styles about how they'd wear their headdress, and they would say like, we're still like, we have something cool going on here, and they would have like these V-shaped cobra style things. They would differentiate themselves, but they were oddballs. They were a bunch of, you'd go to their country, you'd go into Doha, and it was like you're in the 50s, and it was the 90s. This is the kind of people they were. And then they had a coup because there was a group of educated youth, and the king was with them, the prince, and then after that they modernized and became part of this whole thing, and then things started going their way. They found a lot of natural gas. And the thing about understanding Qatar is, why did they take the side of Iran? They were fresh thinkers. They were doing something different, and Al Jazeera helped a lot. Having something like Al Jazeera, which was, if you watch Control Room, you see the evidence that they're all mining and paying high prices for journalists from CNN and from BBC, and they were able to change the entire dynamic of GCC politics. They brought about a culture of stability, a culture of, you know, the reason Gaza gets a lot of press is from Al Jazeera, and that's sitting in Doha. Doha today is as good as Dubai, if not better, because they plan better. The UAE has been in debt for a long time. The UAE has been in debt for 40 years. Right from the beginning, as the Trucial states came down, they started taking debts because they had a culture of shipping. Their ports were always busy, so they knew that's the way the system is. But Qatar, to understand Qatar, the reason they suddenly come out of nowhere and become this great important force is because of that. It was just a culture, and also they're Al Thani, the Al Thani family are cousins of Al Khalifa, and there's a rivalry, and that rivalry hits hard. It hits them hard. They feel a lot for each other. They're brothers, but it's kind of like, you know, when you're I'm not defining myself because of who you are. I am not you and you are not. There's this whole, they have a dynamic, a strong dynamic of differentiation between each other. And a lot of times they make decisions based on this kind of rivalry. So you have to understand that in order to understand Qatar. But they're awesome. I think Qataris, you will find them to be extremely neo-traditional, because they are, and they are rednecks, and they're weird. They're very weird people. If you're hanging out with a bunch of them, they stand out very much. Whereas Kuwaitis stand out because of their uniqueness, Qataris stand out because of this very different kind of they're odd people. They're very odd. They're nothing like the rest of them. And they've been defined by this different. You can always tell a Qatari apart from other GCC people, not by their features, not by racial differences, but by their culture, the way they talk, the kind of ideas they come up with. Their approaches are really against the grain, and that's what they are. I thought I'd share that, and I'll have a paratha right now.